There we are. Hey, hello, and welcome to the show. It's me, JP, and I had a mic receiver that I hadn't turned on, and it takes about 12 seconds or so to turn on. Welcome to the show. It is JP's product pick of the week. Thanks so much for stopping by and joining. If you didn't know, this is the show where I show you a cool thing that we sell and give it to you for half price. Thanks to all the help from the new products team. Also, Lady Ada helping pitch in today as some people are out. They're able to stash away a big bunch of them. I think 100 were stashed of this week, as well as slash the price. The price is cut in half just for the duration of the show. After the show, it goes back up, but that means you don't need a coupon code or anything like that. You just buy it during the show. You can get up to 10 of them. No resellers allowed. And we don't take back orders or rain checks or anything like that. So if you see it for that price, throw it in your cart, buy it, it's yours. Otherwise, it'll be back at regular price a little later. So those are the rules. That's how it works. What I also like to do is thank people for joining in the chats. So over on YouTube, hello to Bob, Robert Cochran, Connor McCarter, 9581. Hello, Beata Graf Abdelhagen. Who else do we have? Tyrone Mix. Hello. Dave Odessa. Yes. And then we have our Discord chat. So if you're wondering, hey, where is everybody? If you're over on Facebook or somewhere like that, LinkedIn, this is the place to check out. That's our Discord. You can go to adafruit.it/Discord and then look for that live broadcast chat channel right there. And you can join the likes of Toddbot with his axe. We got Thin Man. Hello, Byron. Hey there, Blitz City DIY. Jim Hendrickson. Howdy. Ooh, look, that's me. Hey, C. Grover. Yes, I was feeling outdoorsy today, although it's not anywhere near. I keep trying to make fall happen. Fall doesn't want to happen. It's still hot here in Southern California. There's still mosquitoes here in the workshop sometimes. Boy, oh boy. All right, so the next thing I like to do is have you head on over to the product if you would like to. That's the QR code. That's the URL. It's product 2922. Jump on over there. This show takes place inside of that page. And the next thing is to let Lady Ada tell us about it from a new segment going back a few years. This one's an oldie but goodie, so take it away, Lady Ada.
This is the Adalogger FeatherWing, and this one adds a real-time clock and a micro SD card, so you can do data logging with timestamps. You can put a battery in there, and then now you have a battery-backed real-time clock. And it uses SPI at I2C. It works with all of the FeatherWings. We have a photo here showing what it looks like with an SD card inside and also a coin cell. Can store tons of data. You know, this is a good thing if you like, for example, you have a Feather phone, so you have a Feather board with cellular built in and you want to data log something and maybe upload a file only once in a while to GPRS. You would do this, you would log to SD card and then connect to the cellular network and then upload the file, for example. So that's a good demonstration of what we want to do with it. It works with any of the Feathers. You can use it with ESP8266, 32U4, the Bluetooth ones, the Wi-Fi ones, whatever you like, and you just add data logging and a real-time clock.
Yep, that's right. That's what you do. And that right there is the product pick of the week this week. It is the Adafruit Feather Adalogger. What do we call this? This is the Adalogger FeatherWing. Yeah, that's it. Product pick this week is the Adalogger FeatherWing. So this is a feather wing. You can use it on top of or under a feather, depending on how you solder on pins or headers. You can also use it side by side on something like a doubler or tripler or quadrupler. It's feather form factor. It's plug and play. It means you don't have to do anything other than plug this into some compliant feather or doubler. And it gives you the real-time clock over I2C. We have battery backup for the real-time clock, so you can unplug it and you'll still keep your time and date and all that good stuff. We also have an SD card built on there, which works over SDIO, I believe. It's over SPI. And that SD card allows you to log data, and then you can pop out the card and put it in your computer, use it for whatever you like. So this is a really nice package for being able to keep track of stuff and tag it, make a little CSV file or a text file or something in your code. You can use it in CircuitPython. You can use it in Arduino. And let's take a look at the product page, actually. Let me jump to that right there. So if I refresh this, you'll see we have them for $4.48 right now, which is great. And you can add this to pretty much any of your Feather projects. All of the connections to I2C and SPI are on pins that are right on there, so you just configure that in code and off you go. We also have a little reset button on there. And if you scroll down in the product page here, you will see we've got a few projects associated with this one, some different Learn guides. And this is the main Learn guide there, so there's a nice close-up of the board you can see there. We have a pinout page, show you the power pins that are used, real-time clock over I2C using SDA SCL. There is an interrupt pin that you can wire to separately if you need it. Just solder a little wire to that and over to one of the pins. We have a double row of the pin headers, so if you solder the outer row to sockets or headers and put that in, you can still do some little bridging of pins on there, which is nice. We also have, here's the SPI serial pin layout, and then there's also a SDCS pin, chip select, which I guess you can go with the default that's on there, which is, I believe, D10 in CircuitPython, or you can cut that little header and wire up, excuse me, any pin to this little pad right here, and that'll help on certain boards that don't want to use D10. If you continue on, we have some little assembly. You can see putting it together with some stacking headers if you want to be able to plug this into something and then something on top of it, make a little sandwich of Feather goodness or put it on a breadboard that way. Here's pretty standard female sockets you can solder onto your Feather and then put the real-time clock on top of it if you like, or go the other way around. And then using this, we have instructions inside of Arduino and CircuitPython for the real-time clock. And then we have separate instructions for Arduino and CircuitPython for using the SD card. If you go to this CircuitPython page, this will show you how to get it set up using SD card I/O. That's the I think the primary option for this. And then if that doesn't work, we have, what is it? Let me scroll down. Is that it? I don't remember. I'll check my code here in a second. How about we do that? And then we also have on the downloads page little links to the PCF8523. That's the real-time clock we're using. You can click on that and go to the data sheet for that, as well as CAD files, fritzing objects, 3D model of the board. So let's go ahead and take a look at this demo I've got. So I'm going to go to this overhead view. So here you can see I've got a setup where I've got the Adalogger FeatherWing with the backup battery plugged in there. My real-time clock is running. I've got an SD card in here. And then I'm using this with a Feather RP2040. Like I said, you can use this with most any Feather. And then I also have one of these really cool LCD FeatherWings from Oddly Specific Objects. And you can see I have an SHT45 humidity and temperature sensor plugged into my Feather over Stemma QT I2C. So those are all working in concert, no problems, no conflicts. So here, my real-time clock is showing me the time, and then it's also switching over to show the temperature, and you'll notice a little blink here in the corner when the data gets written to the card. So every 10 seconds, I believe it is, I have it set to, I'm writing whatever the temperature and the time date stamp is to the SD card. And the way this works over in code, let me jump over to my code editor here. So you can see I'm importing the PCF8523 for the real-time clock usage. And then I've also got SD card I/O, that's the one I'm using, and storage. So those right there are kind of the main things we need to be able to deal with the parts on that board. And I'm also using board for pin definitions on the Feather, bus I/O, the SHT4X for my little plug-in humidity and temperature sensor. I set up I2C, and then I set up the real-time clock object as RTC, give it the name PCF8523 on the I2C bus. And then I'm setting up the SPI to be able to use the SD card. So SPI is board SPI, chip select is board D10, like I said before. SD card is SD card IO with the SPI bus and the chip select. And then we create the storage and mount it right here. So storage.mount VFS, and that's as the /SD card folder that's on the CircuitPython drive in case the card isn't there. We need to be able to mount that first. I'm also creating the sensor object. This is all some display stuff using the LCD-Wing light library for that oddly specific objects, LCD FeatherWing. And then I'm doing some list here for nice names for days of the week. And you'll find this in a lot of our example code. Most of this is based on our example code, and then I just kind of pushed some stuff together to make the full demo. You'll find we have a little function in here that says, if true, so you can set this on to run at one time, go ahead and set the date time to, and then you fill in your date time. So I set this yesterday at, 2:23 p.m. So I set that, and then it will, with this rtc.datetime equals, and you give it this, this set of values here, it will stamp that onto the card, then you will, or onto the real-time clock, then you will go ahead and set this false and resave your code with any updates or changes so you don't keep overwriting that. So this has been running nicely, and it might lose, I think, Lady Ada said, a couple seconds a day. It's not a super high precision one, but pretty good. Good enough for a simple clock type of project and a logging project. Then I've got a little bit of code here to open up this CSV file, or create it if it's not there, on my SD card. And then I'm go ahead and in the main loop, I check the current time, and then I check to see if I'm either showing the temperature or the date on the screen. Show one or the other. The real-time clock code, if we scroll down a little further here, you can see I'm grabbing dt, date time, equals rtc.datetime. So that's all you have to ask in CircuitPython to get the current date time off of the real-time clock. So I grab that and then go and kind of parse that to write it to my card. Nice and neat. And that is the main call that we make, is just dt equals rtc date time, and then we can do other stuff with it. So pretty simple to use, and then it's kind of what code you build around it to do something interesting. So let's see, questions in the comments. Let's see. That was, someone asked about the video there. That was Phil and Lady Ada and Star Simpson was a guest on the show. This goes back a few years when this was first launched. Note the SHT45 mounted above the feather. Oh yeah, I just didn't have anywhere to put it, and I didn't want it dangling off the side, so I just used a little M2.5 nylon standoff and a screw and a nut there to stick that there. But with a temperature sensor, sometimes if this is put inside of a nice case, you might want the temperature sensor somewhere else on the outside or closer to the top. So yeah, that's one of the benefits of having that as a little separate board that's just connected over STEMMA QT. Just to show this in action here, let me go to a full view for a moment. So it's 1:15 p.m. Go ahead and unplug this. I don't have a battery, no LiPo battery on the Feather. So real-time clock is being, the data on there is being saved, and it's continuing to run thanks to having this little backup battery in here. So we don't need, we can in fact unplug this. There we go, there's my Adalogger. I'll go plug that back in. Nothing up my sleeve. Go ahead and plug in the Feather again. And you'll see that pretty quickly oh look, it's 1:16, right? So it was 1:15 when I started that. I'm glad I passed a minute of vamping there. So you can see that just continues to run, no problem without power, and that's the nice thing about having that little battery backup there. Let's see, other questions. DK asks, will this work on the back of a Pi badge? Yeah, this would work on the back of the Pi badge. In fact, I have one right here. I don't have it coded, but since the Pi badge and Pi Gamer have the feather layout on the back here, they actually are just kind of a weirdly shaped feather, to be honest. We can plug that in and use that. So that's a nice idea. It's a nice little platform, and adding a real-time clock and a SD card to your Pi badge would be nice. This one doesn't have a SD card on its own. I believe Pi Gamer does, but Pi badge doesn't. So if you got a Pi badge, you want to add some real-time clock and battery backup for the clock and SD card, those would pair pretty nicely right there. Let's see, other questions. Oh, Tyeth mentions over in the chat, let me bring up our Discord. Tyeth mentions Adalogger is supported by the no-code Whippersnapper offline mode. You install UF2 firmware, pick components via tool, copy JSON to board, SD starts logging. It's see learn.adafruit.com. That's great. I didn't realize that. So yeah, this is useful for Whippersnapper, Adafruit, Arduino, CircuitPython. Let's see. Also over in our chat, C. Grover mentions for auto DST, try the Kronos helper for detecting DST. All right, go check that out. There's a link right there. And it's in the community bundle. Great. All right, have I missed anything? Let me show you a nice little close-up of the board here. So you can see there's your slot for the battery. This is a, by the way, CR1220 battery. Not one I usually have, or I usually have the 2250s, 2230. What's the one that's in everything? The bigger, slightly bigger one. These we do carry in the store, however. So when you order one of these, you can have a battery added. Just know that that will mess with which shipping services we can use because of the battery. So what else? Yeah, there's your SD card. It's a real-time clock on there. Flip it over, you can see we've got the doubling of the rows for headers and then jumping different pins. All right. Any other thoughts or questions? I'll get out of here. Yeah? Okay, let's do it. So that right, make this easy on myself. That right there is the product pick of the week this week. It is the Adalogger FeatherWing real-time clock, battery backup, and SD card reader. For Adafruit Industries, I'm John Park. This has been JP's product pick of the week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. Time to go chop some wood.